All right, let's jump right in. So, imagine you're running an online store. Every time a customer places an order, a bunch of things need to happen, right? You've got to tell the shipping provider, you need to update your accounting system, and of course, send a confirmation email. Now, how do you make sure all those different systems find out about the new order instantly? Well, that's exactly the problem we're going to solve today with a really cool concept called webhooks.
So let's think about the problem this way. Normally, to get new information from a system, you have to keep asking it. Your shipping system would have to be constantly bugging your store, asking, hey, is there a new order yet? How about now? Now, it's a lot. But what if we could flip that around? What if your main system could just talk? What if it could just announce to everyone who needs to know, hey, something important just happened?
And this slide just nails the difference. On the left, you've got polling. It's like a kid in the back of a car on a long road trip, just asking, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Over and over. It's super inefficient and creates a ton of noise. But on the right, you have webhooks. The system simply announces, hey, something new happened, one time, right when it happens. We're switching from constantly pulling for information to just having it pushed to us.
And that brings us to the solution itself, webhooks. They're this really elegant, event-driven answer to that noisy, annoying problem of polling. They let our systems just stop asking and start listening.
So, what is a webhook really? At its core, it's a super simple but really powerful idea. One application tells another, hey, when this specific thing happens, like a new order comes in, I want you to send all the details to this specific web address. That address is called a callback URL, and the magic is that the data gets sent automatically the second the event happens. It's real time.
The whole process is actually pretty straightforward. First, a system subscribes, giving the main server a URL and telling it what event it cares about. Second, the event happens. The server then triggers the webhook, sending the data over. Third, the receiving system gets the data and basically sends back a quick message saying, got it, thanks. That's the 200 OK status. And fourth, and this is important, a really solid system will even try again if the delivery fails, to make sure that message gets through.
Now, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There's a trade-off. The benefits, they're huge. You get updates in real time, it's incredibly efficient, and it lets totally different systems work together seamlessly. But it comes with its own challenges. You really have to think about reliability. I mean, what if the other system is down when you try to send the data? And you absolutely have to think about security, because you're basically opening up a door for another system to send you information.
Okay, so how do we actually build one of these things? Let's break down a simple webhook system into its 4 key parts. We're not going to look at a single line of code here. We're just talking about the role that each piece plays in the grand scheme of things.
First up is the model. You can think of this as the subscription form, or a blueprint. It's just a simple data structure that holds the 2 most important pieces of information: what event someone cares about, like order.created, and where to send the notification, that callback URL.
Next, you need somewhere to keep all those blueprints, right? That's the repository. It's basically the system's address book. When an event happens, this is the list the system looks at to see who it needs to notify. Now, in a simple demo, it might just be a list in memory, but for any real application, this is going to be a proper database.
So, how do other services get their contact info into our address book in the first place? That's the job of the endpoint. It's the public-facing front door. It's an API that lets other applications come to us and say, hey, sign me up for notifications, by giving us their event type and their callback URL.
And finally, we have the dispatcher. This thing is the heart of the whole operation. When that new order comes in, the dispatcher is the worker that goes to the repository, finds everybody who signed up for order.created events, and then one by one sends the notification out to every single one of them. It's the engine that really makes it all work. Okay, theory's great, but let's see how this all clicks together in a real-world example. We're going to walk through it step by step, from the moment a service subscribes to the instant it gets that sweet, sweet data. So here's how it plays out. First, an external service, let's say it's our shipping provider, uses our API endpoint to subscribe to the order.created event. Then, a little while later, a customer named Alice buys something for $199.99. The very moment her order is confirmed, our dispatcher kicks into gear. And boom, step 3, our shipping provider system instantly gets all the details about Alice's order. No waiting, no asking. And this right here is what they actually receive. This JSON payload is the end result of the entire process. And what's so cool about this is that it's structured, predictable data. You can see the event type, a timestamp, and right inside the data object, there it is, Alice's name
and the order amount. Now the shipping system can just read this and automatically kick off its whole process.
So, the example we just saw works great, but, it's a bit simplified. To get a webhook system ready for the real world, for a production environment, we need to add a few more layers to make it more robust, more reliable, and a whole lot more secure.
Here are the big ones. First, persistence. You need a real database so you don't lose all your subscriptions if the app restarts. That'd be bad. Then, performance. If you have thousands of notifications to send, you can't do them one by one. You need to send them in parallel or use something like a message queue. You also absolutely need a retry strategy for when deliveries fail, because they will. And this one is huge, security. You need to use secret tokens so the receiver can prove the webhook actually came from you and not some imposter.
So, after all that, what's the big takeaway here? It's pretty simple. Webhooks completely changed the way our systems talk to each other. They let us move away from that slow, repetitive pull model to an instant, efficient, and proactive push model. It's like letting your different applications have a real-time conversation.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. Once you give your system this power, this ability to speak up whenever something important happens, the possibilities are kind of endless. It's not just for new orders. It could be for new user signups, for status updates, for anything. So the real question for you is, now that your system can talk, what are you going to have it say?